Have you ever wondered what the best weapon to use in Minecraft is? Some people may think they know, but today, guys, we are going to figure it out 100%. We're going to find out what the best weapon to use in the game is, and we're going to see how far we can push it. Before we start, I'm going to have to explain a couple things about how we're going to do these tests. So right here, as you can see, I've created my own little testing castle area. Basically, these towers were just for fun and have no meaning to the testing whatsoever. Now over here is where the real magic is going to happen. These are going to be the things we're going to be using to testing along with that cage back there. But guys, let me explain how we're going to do this first. We're going to be using damage per second to figure out what weapon does the most damage per second. And that's how we're going to figure out what weapon is the best. Now, if you want to know how we're calculating damage per second, we're taking the damage of the weapon and multiplying it by the attack speed. And that's going to give us our value. So without further ado, guys, these are the three weapons of choice that we are going to use to be testing. So they range all the way from wooden to netherite versions of each one, each having a different DPS than the last. And I'm going to explain this right now. So let's take a look at the wooden sword. It has 4 attack damage and a 1.6 attack speed. If we multiply these, we're going to come out to a 6.4 damage per second, okay? So wooden, not so good, but obviously we are going to be taking a look at the netherite versions of each of these, since the netherite is the best, so we can easily already right out of the gates eliminate all of the versions that are not netherite. So now we're left with base stats here of 8 attack damage, 10 attack damage, 1 attack damage, and we have different attack speeds for each. So let me tell you what the damage per second for each of these is. For the sword, it's going to be 12.8. For the axe, it's going to be 10. And for the hoe, it's going to be 4. Just 4. Now you're probably wondering why I chose the hoe as my third option here, and it's because I just really like the hoe in this new update, and I figured, you know, if we're going to choose a weapon, this should be in there as well. So we're going to try and hang on to it as long as we can. So guys, now that we have a base damage per second for each of these, we can now apply enchants. Now, there's some that will work, some that won't help us, but here are the ones that I've selected. Okay, so right out of the gate, we have knockback, and knockback 1 and 2 can both go in the trash. Also, sweeping edge is another one that I think we're going to throw out because this helps you hit multiple mobs at once. Now, this could get complicated with damage per second because say we're hitting 3 mobs, we would have to take the damage per second and multiply it by 3 because we're spreading it through 3 different mobs, but they're all getting hit with the same amount. So I don't really want to do that because it could get, you know, infinitely bigger, and I don't think that's a good way to measure the damage per second. Now the first one that we will take a look at here is sharpness, trusty old sharpness, and there's levels all the way from 1 to 5. Obviously we are going to select 5, and we're going to take out these and apply them to our weapon. So if we put a sharpness 5 on the sword and a sharpness 5 on the axe, and the sharpness 5 on the hoe, it doesn't work, so I'm not even going to try. You can't apply it. So now with the enchants on, we have new damage per second values for each of these weapons. Now, let's take a look at the sword. The sword now has a damage per second with sharpness 5 of 22.4. Very good, very good. That is able to one-shot a zombie. Then, for the axe, we have a damage per second of 14.25. You may be surprised that it's not as high, but you'll see, you'll see. We're gonna, oh my gosh, no. Lastly, we have the hoe with a damage per second of 4. Just 4. Still. Now, but guys, we can push this a little bit farther with Smite, as it has a higher damage multiplier than Sharpness, but it only affects undead mobs. But that's not a concern to us because that is not what we're worried about. We're worried about output of damage. Any damage. Netherite Sword, Smite 5. Giving us 8 attack damage still and 1.6 attack speed. That's because it won't show the change in attack damage because it's only against undead mobs. But guys, I have the stats for you. Let's take a look right here. Netherite Sword with a whopping 32.8 DPS. That is huge. That is a massive amount. That can one-shot a turtle. Not that you're going to be one-shotting turtles anyway. And over here, the trusty Netherite Axe is going to come in at 22.5 damage per second. So it caught up to the last version of the netherite sword when it had sharpness 5. So the axe is really just lagging behind, but not lagging behind as much as the hoe. This comes in with a DPS of 4. Just 4, still, just 4. Now guys, there's one more enchant I want to apply, and that is Fire Aspect 2. But before we do that guys, I think you can't apply Fire Aspect to the hoe either, so I think it's time that we eliminate the trusty hoe. And I know a lot of you are sad to see this go, but it had to happen eventually. I will still have this in my heart as my favorite weapon, but for the purposes of this video, it cannot stay. Oh my gosh, netherite doesn't burn in fire. Okay, and that's nowhere to be seen ever again. Anyway, let's move on here to what I said, Fire Aspect. Now, Fire Aspect adds fire tick to your weapon, assuming that mob can be struck with fire, I guess. So Fire Aspect 2 is going to add 7 extra hit points of damage to our weapon. So if we go ahead and toss this on here and this on here, we're going to come out with really, really high DPSs, guys. And this is really going to define the highest amount we can get for just a base normal hit here. For the sword, this is going to come in with a whopping 39.8 damage per second, almost 40 damage per second. And the axe is going to have 29.5, just barely 30 damage per second. And guys, I know there's people holding out hope for the axe, but I think it's time that we eliminate the axe and we move on and see just how far we can push it. So I'm sorry to the axe lovers, but you're gone. Now with our 39.8 damage per second, Smite 5, Fire Aspect 2, Netherite Sword, let's see how far we can push this to find the highest damage weapon in the game. Now I do want to mention we're done with the enchants, and I did leave out things like looting and breaking or mending. I even left out Bane of Arthropods because that sucks and nobody uses that. So yeah, these are the only ones I found that would be really truly affecting the damage per second output. Now over in our testing facility, guys, we're going to test a few things. Over here we have the it's peaceful. Anyway, we have the zombie. This thing's going to burn up in the day. Let's do time set night, and now we have to kill him because that's not going to give us an accurate representation. Okay, let's do this. Zombie versus Netherite Sword. This should one-shot him as he only has 20 hit points. Wow, isn't that just satisfying? Let's try and get more in here. Let's see. Oh, why did that not one-shot? Maybe because it's spread between 2. Let's try one more time. Ah, sometimes it doesn't one-shot. Just on the cusp, I guess. I guess I'm swinging too fast. Yeah, okay, I was not letting the sword reload all the way through its animation. Now, there is one more thing we can add to get this damage per second even higher. And that is a critical hit. If you guys know what that is, it's basically when you're doing this, where you're falling and you hit, or sprinting, that noise, the brr noise, that's critical hit. That, with all the you know, beige particles. See that? So see those particles? That's a critical hit because I'm falling, but I have not yet hit the ground. Let's see if it's when you're sprinting too. Hold on. I don't know. I couldn't tell. Maybe? Oh, so satisfying. Okay. But this is going to add 150% of your damage. Not add, but you will do 150%. So you will do about 50% more damage with a critical hit, which is also going to take our DPS even higher. So guys, let's do some math here. Smite 5, Netherite Sword. We're going to come in with a critical hit and do a base damage of 44 damage, plus the 7 damage from the Fire Aspect to get the highest damage hit in the game at 51 damage per second with one hit. And that is incredible. That is truly incredible. You can do things. What's in this? Oh, if I may. How much health does a donkey have? Wow. So now you know that Netherite Sword with Smite 5, Fire Aspect 2 against undead mobs. That's why it wasn't good against the donkey. It has to be undead mobs. is the best weapon in the game because it has 51 damage per second. That is incredible. Now, I was going to test an Iron Golem, but I got too ahead of myself and again realized it's not an undead mob, so we're going to do something even crazier. Okay, we're doing it. You guys probably were expecting it. Yes, the Wither's oh my goodness. Why is it not working? Yes, the Wither is an undead mob. And let's just see how much damage we do to it. Ooh, but does it have to be in its melee stage when I'm doing this? We'll see, we'll see. I'm not doing it in survival because I don't want to die. I just don't want to die. That would be embarrassing. Let's see. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, look at the health drop. Look at this. Let's see if we can get a critical hit when we're falling. Nope, doesn't look like that's happening yet. We need to get it into its melee mode. It's trying to kill all the pigs and slime. Look how much damage we're doing per hit. This is kind of incredible, actually. I've never killed a Wither this fast. Here we go, melee stage. If I can... Oh, it is going out. That was a critical hit right there. That did a lot of damage. Let's do another one. Come on. Why can't I hit it? It's regenerating its health faster than I can hit it. And come on. Come on. Look at this. Look at this massive damage. This is great. This is incredible. Oh, I killed a slime. And with one more hit maybe? 2 more hits maybe? It's dead. It's dead. That was that. Super, super breezy Wither fight. Not only because I was in creative. That's not why. But it was because we had a 51 DPS sword in our hand. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some closure for those thoughts that are running through your mind constantly at night that you just cannot hold back. You just want to find out what the highest damage weapon is. I got you. Make this, guys. Fight something that's undead and only something that's undead. And you're going to have yourself a wonderful weapon. Make sure you subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And until next time, it's been Lemon Slice. Peace out.